A religious Hindu household usually follows a ritual before and after any major meal. Now, a major meal is classified as one which usually is something of substance, substantiative. In other words, it is not a snack. And usually when rice is served, then it's considered to be a major meal. And there is a ritual that goes along with a major meal. And let's explore that ritual in this video. Now, the ritual is made up of 4 steps, which is again symbolic in nature. And you will understand how that connects to divinity through this video. It's made up of 4 steps, and it hardly takes a few seconds to complete. But it's not the time that's the important aspect when you're performing this ritual. It is your mindset, your contemplation, and your commitment and your connectivity to the larger forces of this universe. That is the symbolic nature of this ritual. So let's look at these 4 steps that gets followed before a major meal, primarily. And after a major meal, there is 1 step that gets followed. So let's look at then 4 and 1, 5 steps in total in that way. So the 4 steps are, the first one is before any major meal, you take a little bit of water in your hands and you sprinkle or you circumambulate it. You just go around the food that is on your plate in the front. The second ritual that you follow is you keep 5 morsels of rice or 5 grains of rice to the right side of the plate or whatever thing that you're eating in. Again, rice is mentioned here because a major meal gets classified usually one which has rice in it. So first one is you sprinkle water around the plate in a circular fashion, clockwise. Second is you keep 5 grains or 5 morsels of rice. The third ritual is you sip a little bit of water. After you keep the 5 grains, you take again water in your right hand and you sip a little bit of that water. And the fourth ritual is you will eat 6 grains of rice. You will eat 6 grains of rice. Once you're done with these 4 steps is when then you will start partaking or eating your meal, basically. Let's go and understand the significance of why the sipping of water, why keeping 5 grains of morsels next to the right-hand side of the plate, why eat only 6 grains of rice. Let's understand the importance and the significance and the meaning of this. Now, this is what I've described as something that's usually and typically followed. There could be some regional variations in some parts of, depending on the part of India that an individual comes from, some ethnicities, but by large, and even the connectivity to the Gita and the Upanishads is based on these 4 steps that I described. And by the way, before I forget, after you're done with the meal, the only step that gets followed is again taking a little bit of water in your hand and then sipping that water directly. And usually you make it in a cup-shaped format. You probably can see that on the video here. You make your hand into a palm. You close your palm into a cup, and you have that type, and you have the water right into, and you just take it in your mouth from there on. Now, let's look at the first one, which is why do you sprinkle or circumambulate water around your plate? This links, so from a traditional practice, we'll come to the scriptural part in a second, but just from a tradition and from a practical aspect. In the earlier days, food used to be served, particularly with rice, used to be served on a banana leaf or on a sal leaf, which gets stitched together with bamboo pins or bamboo sticks. It gets stitched together. So banana leaf or sal leaf. That's how food used to be served. And the flooring in ancient Indian households used to be usually made of mud or stone at the most. You did not have any of this fancy tiling or anything of that sort. It used to be mud or stone, pretty much. Sorry. So basically, you had food being served on a banana leaf or a sal leaf, and you circumambulate and sprinkle water all around it so that while you're eating, the insects on the floor would not come onto your leaf. That was the practical aspect as to why that happened. But then, as religion evolved, the scriptural aspect came into being, and the offering of water or the sprinkling of water became a symbolic representation to show an acknowledgement to the very substance of life. So it was an acknowledgement to the fact that we are here in this universe. And you start off by saying, I am thankful for that, and that's why you sprinkle it all around. I'm thankful for that existence, and you show that gratitude in that regard. So that was the scriptural aspect, or the religious aspect, if you want to call it. There was a practical aspect, and then there was a scriptural or a religious aspect of it. Once we are done with this first step of sprinkling water all around, then you keep 5 morsels of rice on the right-hand side of the plate. And again, it's all about gratitude. Now, this has a clear spiritual meaning to it. The 5 morsels represents gratitude. And the gratitude starts with the all of divinity. So the first morsel is a gratitude for all the forces of divinity. And if you need to understand what does divinity mean, check out the video that I made on what is divine, who is divine, why divine. You will really get a grounding of what divinity means there. So the first morsel is a gratitude to the forces of divinity. The second morsel is a gratitude to our lineage, to our ancestors. That is the second morsel. It's a gratitude to our ancestors, because without our ancestors, without my father, without my mother, without my grandfather, grandmother, this body would not exist. I would not be here in this body. So that is a gratitude towards ancestors. The third morsel that you keep to the side is a gratitude towards your teachers. Your teachers, your elders, your spiritual masters, anyone actually who has helped you learn and better understand and better appreciate the meaning of life. That is where the third morsel is. It's not about age. It's not about guru or any of those things. It is about a gratitude and a respect for teachers, spiritual masters, and literally from anyone who has contributed to your learning and made you who you are, anyone who helps you understand the meaning of life. That is what the third morsel is about. The fourth one is to acknowledge our fellow beings. This is everyone around us. All the individuals around us, across religion, caste, creed, you name it, doesn't matter. It's to really appreciate and recognize everyone around us as fellow beings. That is the fourth morsel. And the fifth morsel you place it is a gratitude to the vast nature around us, animate and inanimate, plants, birds, trees, flies, you name it, and the inanimate, stones, rocks, everything else, animate and inanimate. So again, 5 morsels kept to the side, starting off with a gratitude to the entire being of divinity, and then each morsel then goes further from that higher level all the way down. So that is the second ritual that gets followed before you eat a major meal. Now let's come on to the third ritual. The third ritual is you take a little bit of water in your hand, you shape it in the form of a cup, and you just drink a little bit of water. This has a Upanishadic linkage. It directly links to the Upanishad. There's a beautiful story in the Upanishad as to how this came about. This is all again a little bit symbolic, but it has a meaning to it, which is there was a debate on which of the sense organs, the 5 sense organs, which of the sense organs were superior. There was a debate about it. Is the sense of eye, of seeing, is the sense of touch, is the sense of hearing, is the sense of smell, which one of these is superior? So there was a debate and there was a fight between the five sense organs. Again, it's said in a story format. So there was a fight going on between the five sense organs, and each organ said, you know what, I'm going to shut down and let me see how you will perform, how this body will function even if I shut down. I can assure you that this body will stop functioning if I shut down. That was really the debate going on. So the first sense organ shut down, like let us say the feeling of seeing, or the sense organ of seeing shut down, and lo and behold, the body was still functioning. Yes, it was impaired, there was a problem, but still the body was still functioning. Same with the sense of hearing, the sense of smell, sense of touch, you name it, with across all the five sense organs. When that sense organ shut down, the body and the life within the body still existed. It wasn't like the body or the life within the body collapsed just because one sense organ shut down. So this was an egoistic debate going on between the five sense organs. But then they realized, finally, when breath itself stops, everything shuts down. I can be without the sense of feeling or sense of seeing. I can still perform. Yes, in an impaired manner. I get it. In an impaired manner. I wouldn't be so skillful if I cannot see. Get that. But the body and the life within it still contains. But the moment the breath or the main life energy, we call it prana, when the main life energy of prana stops, then the entire life itself comes to an end. Essentially, that's what happens when an individual in this body is declared dead. I just want to be careful about the wording I'm using. Declared dead. The body is declared dead because the life energy leaves. So, in that sense, that ended up being considered, that life energy, that prana was considered to be the most superior of everything that we have here, and all the other sense organs bowed in gratitude and respect to the life energy. Again, it's a story with a meaning associated with it, which means at the end of the day, the life energy or prana is the most significant that keeps you going. That is really what the meaning of that is. So, in a sense of gratitude to prana, you sip water before you partake a meal. That sipping of water is as a sense of gratitude, sense of reverence to that main life energy, knowing pretty well that without that vital breath, this body is nothing but a lifeless piece of flesh. So it's a sense of gratitude to that life energy. Same way, even after you complete the meal, you still again sip, a sip of water, you take a sip of water. And that is again a gratitude to the life energy. So before the meal, you would sip. After the meal also, you would do this one step of sipping water, again giving that gratitude there. The last step before eating a major meal is, once you're done sprinkling water all around, once you're done keeping the fine morsels of rice, once you're done sipping a drop of water as a respect to the life energy, the fourth step is to eat 6 morsels of rice. These 6 morsels of rice, the reason you eat 6 of them is each one of them is once again a benediction, a reverence, a gratitude, a thankfulness to the vital forces that keep you going. So one morsel is for the life energy and the forces that keep you in balance, the very fact that you can stay in balance as an individual. As a human, you can get up and stay in fact and stay steady. So there's airs that go on in the body that help you have that way, that balance with the outside universe and the inside universe of your body. So it's a gratitude to that. The second morsel is a gratitude to the forces that help keep your food and your body moving through the respiratory system. So things that help you process, that is another gratitude, and that's where you eat the second grain. Third one is really the life forces that gives you this what we call as buoyancy, or this kind of a shape. Nama and Rupa, we say the Rupa, the third life energy or the force is the one that gives you that shape. Great example, once life energy leaves, prana leaves, and after certain hours of death, the body loses its shape. Why? Because the forces that guide this shape leave this body. So this gratitude, the third morsel, is a gratitude to that forces that help you keep this shape. The fourth is for the energy that helps us process the food in our stomach. Is the food. So it is all about that. It's the fire that helps you process the food. And the last morsel, the fifth morsel, actually there is a sixth, I'll come to that. But the fifth morsel is as a gratitude to the forces that helps you digest and eliminate waste out of this body, or the excretion that happens out of this body. Which is why even if you go to a Hindu temple and you see a priest sipping water, even before having a meal, when the priest is offering prayers to a deity, the priest would sip water 5 times. And again, a symbolic gesture, each time they sip this water, it's a gratitude to one of these life forces. So again, I said we'll keep 6 morsels, right? So where is the 6th morsel? 6th morsel is essentially a gratitude to the life forces of this entire universe, of this entire cosmic universe. That is a element of gratitude there. So those are the six morsels again that you keep it there. So as you can imagine here, a simple ritual. Now this should take you a few seconds to do it. It's not so much about the ritual, but it is about that connectivity, that connection, that element of gratitude. That is the more vital point here. And that is why following something like this as a tradition makes perfect sense. Yes, there is a Upanishadic linkage, there is a scriptural linkage, there is a practical aspect, but I think the bigger meaning of this is the divine connectivity through this. Again, to summarize, 4 simple steps: sprinkling, circumambulating around your plate. Second, sipping a drop of water. Third, keeping 5 morsels of rice to the side. Fourth, taking 6 morsels of rice, and then you start eating the meal. Now, one more thing, when you are eating this 6 morsels of rice, what also happens normally in many religious households is they chant the mantra Om. So you would take a grain of rice, chant internally Om. You would chant that Om. And the reason is Om, that sound Om, is considered to be the very primordial, the first fundamental atomic, molecular, like you name it, the nano atom, nano, whatever you want to call it. It is considered to be the first fundamental element and substance of this universe. Think in a scientific manner, think about it like the Big Bang. It is from the Big Bang that this universe got manifested, if you are purely a student of science. From a Gita standpoint, Om is how this universe all got manifested. That was the first sound, that first energy out of which everything got manifested. So when you're eating those 6 morsels of rice, you would chant Om internally as you're having that. Krishna, in fact, in chapter 7, verse number 8, actually talks about Om and describes how Om is the fundamental substance of everything that's out there. It is the taste in water, the radiance of the moon, the radiance of the sun. It is the energy of all living beings. It is the fundamental nature and the substance that makes up this cosmic space around us. With that, hopefully this video can give you an insight into the reason for this ritual. So the next time, at least you're aware about it, and why not go ahead and start following it.